License and registration. Where's the fire, pal?
I'm sorry, officer. I really need to get to the hospital right now. It's an emergency.
The hospital? Right. You late for your shift in the cafeteria?
No, I actually work in the operating room.
Huh. Okay. Sure. The operating room. Step out of the car.
Please, my ID is right click.
I don't care who is waiting. Get out now or I'm putting you on the ground.
Whoa, okay.
Officer Miller had no idea what he just walked into. In the next 45 minutes, a life would hang in the balance. A federal lawsuit would begin that would cost his department $15 million. The man he assumed was support staff was actually Dr. Aris Thorne. He was the chief of neurosurgery. Dr. Thorne was one of only 3 specialists in the entire state qualified to perform the emergency brain surgery waiting on the table. He had been a citizen for over a decade. And the dashcam was capturing every agonizing second of the delay. Before I continue, let me ask you, have you ever been treated unfairly by someone in power? Drop your answer in the comments. But Officer Miller looked at the driver and only saw a suspect. He did not see a savior. Dr. Aris Thorne was not just any doctor. He was the chief of neurosurgery at St. Jude's Research Hospital. He was double board certified. He had 15 years of experience. He was a pioneer in treating traumatic brain injuries. Dr. Thorne was also a naturalized U.S. citizen. He had lived here for 12 years. Because of his job, he was heavily vetted by federal agencies. He had a high-level medical clearance. He was one of the most trusted men in the state. On this specific Tuesday, he was actually off duty. He was at home relaxing. Then the code black page came in. There was a bad car crash. A victim needed immediate surgery to relieve brain pressure. Dr. Thorne grabbed his keys and ran. He wasn't trying to break the law. He was trying to beat the clock to save a life. Diseases don't care about immigration status. When Dr. Thorne is in that car, he is a lifeline. But on this morning, all his training didn't matter. He was about to face a barrier he couldn't operate on. Agent Buck Miller had a reputation. He worked for the Tri-County Task Force. He was a 10-year veteran of ICE. Currently, he was cross-deputized. This meant he could do traffic stops like a normal cop, but he didn't act like a normal cop. He had 14 complaints in just 3 years. Every single complaint was the same. He targeted minority drivers during routine stops. He had a pattern. In one case, he detained a landscaping crew for 2 hours. They were all legal residents. In another case, he harassed a college professor near the border zone. He said the professor looked suspicious. His colleagues knew about this behavior. They called him the bulldog. They said once he bit down, he refused to let go. He frequently turned off his body cam during these stops, but he made a mistake this time. He couldn't turn off the dash cam in his car. Miller believed his badge gave him total power. He thought he could be the judge, jury, and border patrol. He didn't care about the situation. He only cared about his authority. He ignored the rules because he never faced real consequences. But this time was different. He wasn't stopping a landscaper. He was stopping the only man who could save a dying patient. Type justice in the comments if you think officers like this need more oversight. It was Tuesday at 8:15 a.m. The location was Interstate 95. This was just 2 miles from the hospital exit. The traffic was heavy that morning. Dr. Thorne was driving carefully. He used the shoulder and the passing lane. He had his hazard lights on to warn other drivers. Inside the hospital, the surgical team was prepped. The patient was on the table. Every minute counted. The pressure in the patient's brain was rising. They were just waiting for the surgeon. Then Miller's unmarked cruiser pulled out. He was aggressive. His lights were blazing. Dr. Thorne saw the lights. He felt relief at first. He thought the police would help him. He pulled over immediately. He kept his hands on the wheel. He was shaking, but not from fear of the cop. He was running on adrenaline for his patient. Dr. Thorne thought if he explained the medical emergency, the officer would understand. He thought the officer might even give him an escort to the hospital. That is what usually happens in emergencies. He was wrong, very wrong. Miller parked behind him. He walked up to the window with his hand near his holster. The mood was not helpful. It was hostile. If stories like this matter to you, hit subscribe. We are telling the truth about these encounters. I work in the operating room, Dr. Thorne repeated. Miller laughed. Yeah, sure, the cafeteria operating room. Dr. Thorne reached for his hospital ID badge. He held it up. Look, I am a surgeon, please. Miller grabbed the badge. He looked at it for 1 second, then he threw it back into the car. Anyone can print these at Kinko's, Miller said. That means nothing to me. Please, Dr. Thorne begged. Call dispatch. Call the ER charge nurse. Her number is on the back of the badge. She will tell you. Miller shook his head. I'm not calling anyone. I need a green card or a passport now. I don't carry my passport to the grocery store, Dr. Thorne said. I am a citizen. I have a driver's license. That license could be fake, Miller said. Step out of the car. I can't, Dr. Thorne said, his voice rising. My patient is dying. Every minute I sit here, he loses brain function. Miller didn't listen. He opened the car door. He grabbed Dr. Thorne by the arm. He ripped the doctor out of the seat. He spun him around. He slammed him against the hood of the car. You are resisting, Miller yelled. I am not resisting, Dr. Thorne screamed. I am a doctor. Miller cuffed him. The metal clicked tight. Dr. Thorne felt panic rise in his chest. It wasn't for himself. It was for the man on the operating table 2 miles away. Miller shoved Dr. Thorne toward the cruiser. He pushed his head down. He stuffed the surgeon into the back of the cage. The heat inside was stifling. You sit there until I verify who you are, Miller said. He slammed the door. Dr. Thorne watched through the metal grate. Miller walked back to his car slowly. He was in no rush. He started typing on his computer. 10 minutes passed, then 20. The sun beat down on the car. Dr. Thorne yelled, "Call the hospital, just call them." Miller ignored him. He turned up his radio. What Miller didn't know was that the hospital administrator had just called 911. They reported their surgeon was missing. The police dispatcher was about to connect the dots. Wait until you hear what happened when that call came through. We are now at the 45-minute mark. Dr. Thorne was still locked in the back seat. In the operating room, the monitors were beeping. The patient was crashing. The nurses were frantic. Then the radio in Miller's car crackled to life. It was the main dispatch. Unit 4 Alpha, the dispatcher said. Her voice was urgent. Do you have a stoppage on I-95? Miller picked up the mic. Yeah, I have a suspect detained. Verification pending. Is the suspect a male? The dispatcher asked. Name of Thorne. Miller paused. He looked at the ID he had thrown on the passenger seat. Yeah, Thorne, why? Agent, the hospital chief of staff is on the other line, the dispatcher said. She sounded angry. She is screaming. She says you have her chief of neurosurgery. She says a patient is about to die. Miller froze. The arrogance drained from his face. He looked at the ID again. He actually read it this time. He saw the MD next to the name. He saw the security clearance level stamped on the bottom. It was higher than his own. Suddenly, another voice came over the radio. It was the police captain. Miller, the captain barked, if that doctor isn't here in 5 minutes, the patient is dead, and it is on us. Release him, now. Dashcam footage shows Miller's reaction. His face went pale. He realized he had messed up bad. He scrambled out of the car. He ran to the back door. He opened it. Look, I'm going to let you go with a warning, Miller said. He tried to sound tough. Dr. Thorne didn't say a word. He stepped out. He rubbed his wrists. You need to slow down, Miller added. He was trying to cover his tracks. Dr. Thorne ignored him completely. He ran to his car. He jumped in. He sped off toward the hospital. Miller stood on the side of the highway. He looked small. He realized he might have just ended his own career. But the damage was already done. The delay was too long. The clock had run out on a perfect recovery. Let me know what you think in the comments. Should police be able to stop doctors in emergencies? Dr. Thorne arrived at the hospital. He ran into the scrub room. He didn't even have time to explain. He washed up and went straight to surgery. Outside, the storm was gathering. The hospital legal team was already on the phone. Internal Affairs was launching a probe immediately. They pulled the dashcam footage. It was damning. They pulled the dispatch logs. Miller tried to defend himself, but his story fell apart instantly. First, he claimed Dr. Thorne was resisting. The video showed Dr. Thorne's hands on the wheel. He was calm until he was dragged out. Second, Miller claimed he looked like an illegal entrant. This was clear racial profiling. He based it entirely on skin tone. Third, Miller claimed he was just verifying ID, but the logs proved he refused to call the number provided. He sat there for 45 minutes doing nothing. The immediate aftermath was mixed. Dr. Thorne performed the surgery. The patient survived. That was the good news, but there was bad news too, Because of the delay, the pressure on the brain lasted too long. The patient suffered permanent motor function loss. He would never have full use of his left arm again. This injury was preventable. It was caused directly by Miller's ego. The official decision came down fast. Miller was placed on unpaid administrative leave. The investigation was pending, but it didn't look good. The hospital made it clear they were not going to let this slide. They documented everything, every minute of delay, every protocol broken. If you want to see more bad officers get caught, hit subscribe. We are tracking these cases. This story didn't stay quiet, it exploded. Day 1, the bodycam footage was released. A journalist filed a FOIA request. Within 2 hours, the clip was everywhere. The comment about the cafeteria worker trended on Twitter. People were furious. Medical Twitter exploded. Doctors from all over the country posted photos. They used the hashtag "doctors look like this." They showed that surgeons come from every background. By the evening news, it was a national story. CNN covered it. Fox covered it. They called it the driving while doctor incident. The video got 4 million views on YouTube in 24 hours. The public response was overwhelming outrage. People were scared. They realized this could happen to them. What if they were the patient waiting on the table? ICE tried to do damage control. They issued a statement. They tried to distance themselves from Miller. They said his actions were individual and not agency policy. But the internet didn't buy it. They dug up Miller's old complaints. They saw the pattern. This story was shared millions of times. Share it if you think others should see this. 3 days later, the lawsuit dropped, and the number was staggering. The legal action was swift. It was a joint lawsuit. Dr. Thorne sued for civil rights violations. The hospital and the patient's family sued for medical negligence caused by police interference. During discovery, they unsealed Miller's history. The 14 previous complaints came out. They proved he made pretextual stops. This means he used traffic rules to investigate immigration without cause. The evidence was piled high. The city and the department knew they would lose. They wanted to settle. The settlement was massive. The jury awarded $15 million total. $5 million went to Dr. Thorne for the violation of his rights. $10 million went to the patient for his lasting injury. But it wasn't just about money. Officer Miller was fired. He was stripped of his pension. The department was forced to change its rules. They had to rewrite the verification protocols. Now, officers cannot delay emergency responders without a supervisor present. Miller tried to fight it. He claimed he was just following procedure until the very end. He never apologized. Dr. Thorne did something amazing with his money. He donated his portion of the settlement. He gave it to a legal fund for immigrants. He said he didn't want to profit from his own trauma. The money punished the department. It sent a message, but it couldn't fix everything. It couldn't give the patient full use of his arm back. That was gone forever. Wait until you hear what the doctor said outside the courthouse. After the verdict, Dr. Thorne stepped up to the microphones. He stood outside the courthouse. He looked tired but strong. "I was humiliated," he said. "I was reduced to a stereotype. I have the skills to save lives, but in that moment I was powerless." He paused and looked at the cameras. "Diseases don't care about green cards," he continued. "When I am in that car, I am not a suspect. I am a lifeline. If you stop me, you stop the cure." He had a message for officers too. Your bias is dangerous. It doesn't just hurt feelings. Today we proved it hurts bodies. My patient paid the price for your prejudice. He thanked his legal team. He thanked the patient for fighting alongside him. "I earned my citizenship," Dr. Thorne said firmly, "and I earned my medical license. I shouldn't have to carry both just to buy milk." His words went viral again. He became a symbol of what is wrong with the system. This case was rare. Usually, qualified immunity protects officers. They rarely pay for mistakes. But here, a third party was hurt. The patient's injury pierced that shield. It proved that delays have consequences. The Thorne rule is now used in this state. It stops police from detaining medical staff during emergencies, but profiling laws are still vague in many places. So let me ask you, do you think the officer should have been personally liable? Do you believe medical personnel should have special protections? Does your local PD prioritize checking papers over public safety? Because if we don't fix this bias, then we're just waiting for the next Miller, the next Dr. Thorne, and the next tragedy. Comment below if you believe justice was served with that $15 million. If you think stories like this matter, hit that subscribe button. We're going to keep exposing these stories. We're going to keep demanding better. This isn't just about one bad officer or one doctor. It's about all of us. See you in the next one.